Did you know that you might have a chance of stopping a vestibular migraine attack right in its tracks as long as you recognize these two things? My name's Amy. I'm a vestibular physical therapist, which means I treat dizziness and balance problems for a living, and yes, I treat a lot of vestibular migraine. If you haven't watched my video on the 4 phases of migraine, which is located in my vestibular migraine playlist, please go back and watch it before watching this video because it's going to make a lot more sense. Plain and simple, the 2 things you need to be able to recognize as soon as they start happening is symptoms of your prodrome phase, which is the first phase of a vestibular migraine, and number 2, your triggers. Plain and simple, if you begin experiencing the symptoms of a prodrome phase and you recognize it immediately and you put into place certain rescue practices, you may not get to the aura or the attack phase. Prodrome phase is the first phase of a vestibular migraine attack, and it can last anywhere between 5 days to 60 minutes before your migraine attack. Symptoms of a vestibular migraine prodrome phase is not always the same from person to person or from migraine to migraine, but if you get to know your prodrome phase, you may be able to identify it very quickly. Common symptoms include irritability, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, difficulty tolerating different upright activities, and light symptoms of dizziness, lightheadedness, vertigo, or imbalance. The second phase is the aura phase, and that's when your senses start to get affected. So when you start seeing flashes of light or bending hallways or feeling numbness and tingling or having ringing in your ears and it has actually affected the way your senses work, you have now entered into the aura phase. That means you can't necessarily reverse what has already started happening. So if that happens, don't get upset. Journal. After your migraine is over and you have recovered, you need to write down what were the symptoms of your prodrome phase. Usually hindsight is 20/20, and it's going to be easy for you to pick out when those symptoms began, how long they lasted, and what triggers may have led you to that point. Each time you have an attack, if you look at your symptoms of the prodrome phase and your triggers objectively, it will help you to identify it the next time you have an attack. If you are able to identify the prodrome phase before you hit the aura phase, you should immediately take 3 steps. Step 1, remove yourself from all irritants or triggers. Step 2, take any rescue or abortive medications from your doctors or medications that have worked for you for your migraines in the past. And step 3, you should calm your nervous system. I recommend a cool, dark, quiet room where you can lie down for at least an hour. Trust me when I say it's better to take an hour out of your day to try and remove these stimuli and avoid the migraine attack altogether than missing several days of work as a result of a migraine. So I hope these tips have helped you to look at things a little more objectively and to put a plan in place to help avoid migraines in the future.